We've been indoctrinated through family, culture, society, history, science, false science, obsolete science, religion.
Way of Will John.
So divinity is our ability, essentially, to be the best version of ourselves. Examples of this, the ability to imagine freely and to create and innovate, the ability to love fearlessly, the ability to forgive for the sake of forgiving without expecting something in return, the ability to heal our bodies, the ability to communicate the ideas that we have in our intuition and our love. These are all expressions of human divinity. I wanted to identify that first because now I'm going to go to the big picture. The big picture is that we are living and are casualties of an ancient battle that began long before you and I ever came into this world. In the ancient texts, Dead Sea Scrolls, they identify this battle as a battle between what they call the sons of darkness and the sons of light. We know that battle today is a battle between good and evil. I was born not far from where you are right now, in northern Missouri. I was born in a rural area, northern Missouri, back in 1950s, 1960s. You know, we used to joke about good and evil. There was a little red devil on my shoulder here, you know, with pointy horns and a pitchfork, and there was an angel over here, and man, they're going back and forth. And that was the way we used to address good and evil. A lot of people today believe that this conversation is a metaphor. And what I want to say is evil is very real, and it is playing out in our world in deceptive ways. So this ancient battle between good and evil, it's been playing out for so long. There are different kinds of evil. There's technological evil. There's biological evil. There's psychological evil. There's kinetic evil, where troops are on the ground fighting in wars. That's kinetic evil. So the reason we're talking about evil is because it's a nebulous concept until we are able to assign a benchmark. As a scientist, I want to assign a benchmark. How do I know when something is evil? I mean, intuitively, we can guess. And this is why I wanted to talk about divinity first. We can define evil. A benchmark for evil is anything that denies our divinity. Anything that denies us from being the best version of ourselves. Anything that denies our healing, that denies us our ability to love, to forgive, to imagine, to create, to innovate, to communicate, to share, is an expression of evil. All right. And the reason I wanted to have this conversation is because the transhuman movement that is proposing, it's already happening, that is replacing our biology with synthetics. In doing so, denies us facets of our divinity. Because once we begin to put computer chips in the brain, once we begin to put the artificial chemicals into the blood, we function very differently. We're still alive, we're still human, transhuman, but we are not able to access these expressions of our divinity. And so in a very real sense, this battle between good and evil is raising its ugly head. You know, and we all see it. We see it in entertainment. If you saw the Grammy Awards a couple of years ago, you saw satanic rituals playing out on the stage under the guise of entertainment. If you watched the ceremonies for the Olympics this year, 2024, you saw the pale horse of death from the book of Revelation riding down the river in France. It has nothing to do with the amazing men and women that have labored for years to develop their bodies and to compete in brotherhood and sisterhood and friendship to create unity in our world. We see it all over. I mean, we see it in the economic system that has enslaved so many people. We're seeing it in the social media that is denying us the ability to share ideas. So this idea of the transhuman movement ultimately is a form of evil because it denies us our humanness. It denies us our ability to express our divinity, and there are reasons for that. It's intentional. There is a structure. It's intentional. And the reason is because it's our divinity that frees us from fear. When we are empowered, we fear change in the world less. So when we are empowered, we fear one another less. When we're empowered, we are not even afraid. When we embrace our power, then we are less fearful of our own abilities. We're all conditioned and indoctrinated to accept these limitations. limitations. The less access we have to our divinity, the more vulnerable we are and the more susceptible we are to the ideas and the agendas of other people. And there are some big agendas out there that are being political, financial, economic agendas that are being pushed by the year 2030 is the goal, the stated goal from organizations from the WEF, World Economic Forum, all the way to the United Nations. There's a reason they're looking at that 2030 expiration date to accomplish all of these things. So there was a sense of urgency when I wrote this book, graceful urgency. Urgency in the sense that we need to know so that we can recognize and make healthy choices. Graceful is that we have time. It's just if we're going to do it, now is the time. We've got to think of ourselves differently, and we've got to recognize the deep truth of what it means to be a human. And our young people, you and I are a product since the Second World War. The indoctrination has been that the human, carbon-based life, and including human, that we are a flawed, F-L-A-W-E-D, flawed form of life. And because of that, we need something outside of ourselves.